Hi guys, it's Ross at foodtravelmusiclove.com. Inspiration from the heart. This is a little Q&A session down here with Peter, known for a few years. I'm gonna give you a little idea of what it's like to be an expat over here in Thailand. And as you can see from his healthy glow, it's very good.
So not bad for 82.
There we go, there we go. First question ticked, done. Well, I'm not gonna let you see some of these questions then.
None. I didn't see the first question.
Yeah, like, yeah, okay. Okay, I think we should start off really with you giving us an idea of your background, if you don't mind, and how and when you ended up in Pattaya.
Well, I was in England till in my early 20s. I went to Australia with my wife and 2 kids. I stayed there till I lost my wife at age 64, and I came to live here.
Right,
so
right.
we've done 3 continents. Not bad.
Well, yeah, 3 continents. Yeah, blimey. Yeah. So that's quite a journey. So you've been here 18 years.
18 years, yeah.
Which do you consider now to be your home? This is
Thailand is my home now.
So this is your home now, and so you respect your other homes if you like, but this is your home.
This is where I'll end my life.
Yeah. Well, that's a happy note. There we go. Right. Yeah. Do you also? I've got to read my own handwriting.
Well, that's normal.
Yeah.
But better to print. It's easier to read.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Next time I'll bring a printer with me. I think. Yeah. No, I'm going to do it like I'm reading off here. How would you sum up life as an expat in Pattaya? And although I think I'm saying that wrong, he's going to tell me off again for saying Pattaya.
Yes.
And do you always feel welcomed and at home here? You know, is it like a home for you?
It's definitely a home for me. Now it's a new bite on life in your old age. There's no better place in the world to retire to than this land. It's absolutely brilliant. You've got brilliant people. They're very, very friendly. This particular town, well, it has a few issues somewhere, but it's still a great place to retire to. And yeah, do I feel at home? Yeah. I mean, at the moment, I've got half the family staying with me for a holiday.
Oh, right.
That's fine, no problems.
As in the family
from up country.
Oh, okay,
my
right.
family.
Oh, okay. So I assume had you met them and knew them anyway, or was this family that you hadn't?
I met them 18 years ago.
Right, okay. I don't know how extended we're talking, you know, whether there's family that sort of come out of the woodwork that you didn't know of, and you know.
Thai families, generally speaking, live in small places.
And they stay
in a city person, and you will get a whole family live in a very, very small area. You might have 5 or 6 different houses, all belong to the same family. And looking at the family relationships in Thailand, we've lost an awful lot. The Thais really know that family is really important.
Right, okay.
Like children, you get a lot of Thai kids, because of the family situation, being looked after by grandma or auntie. That's not a problem. In our society, that's a problem. You're shoving your kids on your, I haven't got time for them.
Yeah.
Here, kids are family property, and it's something we've lost that the Thais still have.
Well, yeah.
It's the importance of family.
Yeah, that's interesting. When you see a lot of the girls that work in whatever establishments down in Pattaya, you know, a lot of their children are being looked after by family, and it's not frowned upon, that is it?
No.
You know,
it's quite normal.
I always wonder whether they feel sad about it. You know, a lot of the girls that have to go and do this work, but it's just part of the course. It's what it's what the roles are. You know.
It's the economics.
Yeah.
You know, if you come from a small village, there's not much money there. Very often the girls are victims of an early love affair. They ended up in pregnancy, and at age 16 the guy decides he can't take it anymore, and he just takes off.
Yeah.
Anywhere will do. And
yeah.
Suddenly the girls have got a problem that they've got this child to look after, and no money coming in. So they have to leave the child with the family to be looked after, and come to places like Pattaya and earn a living one way or another.
A lot of people would make their own impression just coming here once or twice on what's going on and why it's going on, and you know,
we laugh at the whole thing because they know everything and they know absolutely nothing at all.
Well, yeah, there you go. Yeah, I mean, I've been coming here 8 years and I'm still saying Pattaya. So,
I've got to smack around the head one day.
Yeah, there we go. Right, I was going to check about without getting too personal on things, like standard of living. So, how does like cost of living and living standards compare to Australia and the UK here? You know,
I live like a king on an income that I'd be stuck at home 7 days a week on in Australia, hoping to survive. And here I can live like a king on it. You know, $9,500 every 3 months. That's what I have from Australia.
That's what comes in, right?
That's what comes in. I live like a king on that. I have a family to support, a house.
Yeah.
I go out almost every night of the week.
Yeah.
I can have anything I want within reason. Within reason is the key.
yeah. That's left for interpretation and subjectivity. That certainly sounds a lot more of a selling point than people going the other way to Australia or the UK, and you know.
But you couldn't afford to live in Australia. I come from Perth, which is an absolutely gorgeous place to live, with the most fabulous climate in the world.
Yeah.
But it's so expensive. You can't buy a house for less than $700,000.
Wow.
You know, you got to earn a living to pay for a house like that. And you think, no, I can't do it. And me and wife may be able to do it with a bit of luck. But to get that initial deposit, people aren't prepared to go without these days, so they just want to get this money for a house, but they don't give up their lifestyle. So life becomes so much harder for them than they think it should be.
Yeah.
It's never been easy to own your own house, but it's harder now than it ever was.
Yeah.
When I was going out, starting out in life and all through most of my working life, a house, no matter what your wages were approximately 2.5 years income. Now it's more like 6 years income. So that shows the affordability of housing is getting out of reach.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I feel sorry for people in Australia and England and other parts of the world, especially with the migration. It's put such a strain on the housing availability, especially in the UK. Life is not pleasant anymore. When you're retired, this is the place to live. Bar none. You might equal it in the Philippines, but the Philippines is not as safe as Thailand.
How are you defining safe? As in
Not physically safe.
Right. So
I mean, I can walk along Pattaya up until 2 o'clock in the morning, as long as I don't go on the beach, and I'm perfectly safe.
Yeah, I've always found that. I've always walking around on my own, even.
Try that in your own town in England.
I know. That's a worrying thing. Yeah, that is. Yeah, it's ironic. Yeah, I've got to go 6,000 miles away to feel safer. You know, it's a sad state of the world, really. But
it's a sad state of the world, but it's what the world has come to, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And if you're getting old, come and live in Pattaya. It's a great place to live.
I'm not sensing many regrets. So, yeah. Has Pattaya changed?
Yes.
What are the biggest changes you've seen over the last 18 years? And you've seen quite a breadth of time there.
The biggest change of all, when I came to Pattaya, the girls had just got round to having little flip-top Nokia phones.
Oh right, yeah.
Now they've got smartphones. That is probably the biggest change in life all over the world, but more so here than anywhere.
Right, yeah.
So the smartphone has changed the shape of the world, unfortunately. I wish it had never been invented.
Well, I happen to agree. Sorry for any of you watching this on a smartphone now. We thank you for it, but yeah, that is the world. Yeah.
I sat on a train in Bangkok just a few months ago, and there was 12 people sitting opposite me, all in a line, and everyone was on their phone like this.
Yeah.
Now that wouldn't have happened years ago.
No.
It would not have happened at all.
It's a shame, really. It's communication and social interaction a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the only way to communicate these days.
Well, yeah, I suppose, it's communication in some form, just not with your fellow man literally sat next to you, your fellow lady, yeah. I think a lot of people do it just for something to do. That's the annoying thing. It's literally just boredom for something to do, rather than just looking about and ingratiating yourself with where you're at and who you're with.
The world's a beautiful place if you care to open your eyes and look at it.
Definitely, yeah.
The biggest change that occurred in Pattaya was COVID.
Right, yeah.
It's never ever recovered to what it used to be.
Oh, you don't think it has got there?
Oh no. It's years behind. When I first came to Pattaya, Second Road was literally fibre crossing traffic going in all sorts of crazy directions, and you really were taking your life in your hand to go on a motorbike.
Right, yeah.
Now you can safely go along on one hand up, looking for something, and you're fairly safe doing it.
Right,
fairly safe doing it.
Yeah. Like, yeah. Yeah, I wondered COVID, you know, how big her impact.
It's never recovered, and I don't think it ever will recover.
Is that what you think, just consumer confidence or just cost because the baht's so different? And, you know, I know that's not directly changed.
Unfortunately, the baht is tied to the American dollar. Why it is, God only knows. It's a ridiculous thing.
Right,
It has made the cost of holidays more and more expensive, because things have close on doubled since the time of COVID in 2020.
Yeah.
In 5 years, things have almost doubled in cost, but it's still a downside cheaper than the rest of the world.
Well, yeah.
Well, the civilised world, shall we say.
Yeah. Well, I know the answer to this. Should you move to Thailand? So you kind of already said that already, but what advice and tips or hints would you give to anyone thinking of making the move?
Okay, don't come to Thailand till you're past 50. It can ruin your life, especially come to this town.
Okay.
Because expectations of what you can expect out of life change dramatically. And if you're still working for a living, it ain't going to work.
Right.
So don't come for the holiday patio until you're past 50 and close to retiring age.
Right, okay, there we go. Yeah, sensible,
Well,
yeah.
guys at your age, they came here when they were young, and I'll tell you a story about a mate of mine. He was a bar owner just off Walking Street, and he brought his son over for a holiday, and this is going back in when this was a real wild town. The girls who worked in his bar, they actually took him away and raped him. At the end of the holiday, he went mad at his dad. He said, "Dad, you ruined my life." Dad said, "Why?" He said, "Where else am I going to go for the whole of my life now after this?"
Oh, right, yeah.
If you're a guy, think about this. If all you can think about while you're late working or doing your appointments or doing your little bit on a computer, all you can think about is the girl you're there in Thailand, you're not going to have a really happy life. So don't come here until you're past 50.
There you go then, yeah. But not just for a holiday, you mean, or for anything, because to live.
If you come here and get experience the girls that they used to be, they're not quite as bad now. Going back to pre-COVID days, it was a pretty wild town, and sort of anything went. And once you've seen that, it gets inside your head if you're a male, and your expectations of life just suddenly change.
Well, yeah.
And if you're stuck in a 9-to-5 job in the UK, you ain't going to have a very happy life thinking about what you saw in Pattaya.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And all you got to look forward to is a weekend at Bognor Regis or whatever, you know,
That's
coming
right.
up after that, you know, yeah.
Fortunately, you know, travel's easy these days, and if you look after your parents, you can come for the holiday once a year.
Oh, yeah.
And live on memories for 11.5 months of the year.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, wishing it away and all that, yeah.
That's what exactly you do. You wish your life away.
Yeah.
So don't come here until you're past 50.
Well, there you go. Yeah. If you're watching this and your date of birth is anywhere before, like, anywhere after about 1970 up there, don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it.
Yeah. Right. Anything else you, any misnomers, urban myths, stories or anything?
Lots and lots of them. All the new people who come over here for holidays and potential retirement, you all go onto these little channels on Pattaya. Mac TV is one of them.
Oh, yeah.
You try and check out all the things not to do, and you get a real poor impression of Pattaya.
Yeah.
No, the early ones of Mac TV, he was actually a bar manager, and all his messages to the guys coming over was coming to my bar and spend a whole week of money.
Yeah.
Because he was on the same thing as the girls. You buy him a beer, you're paying 3 times what you would do for a normal beer, and the rest goes into his pocket as his wages. His first wages for a month was over 100,000 bahts for a month. That's one hell of a lot of money anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
So you know, a lot of the expats that make these videos pretty much like this one, and not really telling the whole truth most of the time.
Yeah.
And these so-called experts, after being here for 5 years, they don't know half the questions. Never mind the answers.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's what I found.
Some of them are quite funny to watch.
Yeah, because they're so wrong.
And these guys are going, put themselves out in the middle of nowhere, living in the village. They're never really going to fit there, because it's a totally different culture living in Thailand as opposed to living in the West. and you can be here a long time before you realise what really motivates the people here. They're very nice people. It's a very difficult language to learn and understand, and to speak's even harder. I've been here 18 years and I've never felt the need to actually learn to speak Thai. I know a few words, but it's not necessary.
No. Well, that's interesting to hear, actually. Yeah, you know. Yeah.
I had a friend who had a notebook, and every time he heard a new Thai word, he wrote it down in his book phonetically. And the only person who could understand him was his wife. So
Right,
it was a total not a waste of time.
Well, yeah. I suppose. Well, you say the town correctly anyway. You know, it's you say the name. It's not even a town; it's a city, isn't it? So I've got that wrong as well.
Yeah, well, the city's actually Bangalore.
Yeah.
Not Pattaya.
Yeah.
Pattaya is a little enclave of about from between Naklua and Tripasit Road. That is Pattaya.
Right,
It's actually quite small, and that's when most of the tourists come for a holiday. And Cybercow, if you're coming for a holiday, you get as close to Cybercow as you can, because that's where you're going to have the fun.
Yeah.
If you're into music, you can't go anywhere else but Cybercow.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of good music venues. Yeah.
If you like heavy rock, come to Pattaya.
Yeah.
If you don't like heavy rock, stay away from bands that are Thai in their makeup, because all the Thais love the heavy rock.
Oh yeah, they do, don't they? Yeah. I mean, to be fair, and they do a good job at it for a non-English speaking, nation.
They do a real good job, but this is Hotel California, really. It does get a bit boring.
Well, yeah.
If you're into music, it's a fabulous place to be. There's some really good musicians, and the standard of entertainment is very, very high.
Yeah, that's what I found. Yeah.
Most of the acts are actually Filipino.
Yeah, that's right, isn't it? I
Not
think
Thai.
that is a misnomer as well. A lot of people, possibly a little bit, lazy racism. They assume that they're Thai, but they're Filipino, aren't they? The bands and the acts that are over it, That is. I think they're possibly cheaper. I may use this or may not, but they're possibly cheaper. Is that a misnomer?
No, I think
Or are they just?
they'd actually be more expensive because the quality is that much higher.
So it's down to quality. There you go. Then,
It's down to quality. They are first-class musos. There's some great singers, some great musicians.
Yeah, that's basically what I've always thought about the place as well, to do with music. That's the main thing that enticed me here myself. I may be in Pete's position myself in however many years. I won't go into how many years. I've got to leave it at least 9 years apparently, because then I'll be 50.
I'll give you an example of pre-COVID and post-COVID. Pre-COVID, more than half the girls were taking on the diet pills. So they were like this and like that.
Yeah.
Then along came COVID, and they're all fat now.
Yeah. Well,
Same as anywhere else.
I mean, yeah, exactly. You might as well stay home, to be honest. Yeah. Pop out into Essex and have a lovely time. Yeah. Unless there's anything else you can think of that anyone should know, or anything to do with expat. I think we've summed it up in a.
You can listen to all these interviews that you get on, like this one, for instance, and you'll always get a point of view.
Yeah.
And sometimes the point of view is not 100% accurate. It may be coloured by their experience. You hear a lot of bad stories. There's often a great deal of truth in them, and it's always from one point of view.
Yeah.
So you rarely get the full story. So don't be too influenced by what you see on YouTube, which is what you're watching right now.
Yeah. So take this with a pinch of salt, basically, is what we're saying. but yeah.
Well, I tried to tell the truth, but I'm telling the truth from my point of view.
Exactly. That's what life's about. It's about. Yeah.
I live a simple, normal lifestyle here. I'm not a guy that comes in 12 times a year like my mate does.
Oh yes, yeah. Get him in next time.
He's got tons of money. And he's here for 4 weeks, back home for 3 weeks, here for 4 weeks, back home for 3 weeks. But he's got lots of money, so it doesn't bother him.
Oh, why not? Yeah.
You interview him, you get a totally different viewpoint to what I've got.
Yeah.
Because I live in a normal house with a normal family.
Yeah. Well, because I knew that, that's why I wanted to get you down here to have a chat, to give that idea of what is a normal kind of life over here at your stage of life,
Normal life is being happy, and that's not always achievable anywhere in the world. here you can have that.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, you're a guy who's 65, you're a widower, or you're divorced, and life is starting to get hard. There's no reason why you can't come here, get a nice house, get a lady and look after you. Okay, you're going to have to put the house in her name to give her security, but when you pop off, who are you going to leave it to anyway? Leave it to the person who's looked after you through your older years. There's nothing wrong with that.
No. And interestingly, whether you like this on it here or not, interestingly, when you came here, I believe you met your wife within the first few days.
But the first day.
There we go.
The very first day, the first girl I met was the girl I'm with today. I always thought I was guarded there, so you know, that's
Well, there we go. That's
what we call karma, fate,
yes,
whatever.
yes.
In the early days, it was sometimes a bit stormy, but as more years go by, the closer you get together.
Yeah.
Now that I'm waited on like a king, hand and foot. You want a cup of tea, you want this, want that.
Well, yeah. What could you ask for, really? You know.
That's life in Thailand. Try and get that in England or Australia or America. It ain't gonna happen.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not. Yeah.
That is probably the main difference. You'll get someone who will actually look after you as an older person. Whereas if you're in America, or in England or anywhere, you're normally in a relationship with a person more of your own age, and you're putting as much into it as they are. You're arguing with someone who's got the same educational background as you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting, really. Yeah. It's a bit too similar. You know. So
Just try and imagine my lifestyle in your country, and it can't be achieved.
Yeah.
That's why I say, come and live in Pattaya.
Come and live in PATTAYA. There we go. And I said it correctly, nearly. Right. Cheers. I hope you enjoyed that, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks to Peter. Cheers. Thank you very much. Ross, foodtravelmusiclove.com. Inspiration from the heart.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Exercise your elbow more.
Yeah.